Welcome back. A new report from ProPublica this week reveals more unreported luxury gifts accepted by Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. They include at least 38 destination vacations, 26 private jet flights, 12 VIP passes to sporting events, 2 stays at a luxury resort, and 1 standing invitation to what they call an Uber-exclusive golf course. This new report comes as some justices are sounding off on what role Congress has, if any, in regulating the High Court. Here was Justice Samuel Alito last month in an interview with the Wall Street Journal. He says Congress did not create the Supreme Court. No provision in the Constitution gives them the authority to regulate the Supreme Court, period. And here was, on the other side, Justice Elena Kagan last week speaking in Portland, Oregon. Have a listen.
It just can't be that the court is the only institution that somehow is not subject to any checks and balances from anybody else. I mean, we're not imperial. So can Congress do various things to regulate the Supreme Court? I think the answer is yes.
Okay, May Mailman. All right, look, I know the argument is, well, what about Sotomayor's book deal? What about Breyer's deal with this? Gorsuch had a book deal. They didn't recuse themselves when the publisher came before them. Should this be legal to begin with? I mean, regardless of who it is, Republican, appointed by a Republican, appointed by a Democrat.
Well, I think if we're going to talk about illegality, then I would want to have recusals when you have Random House Publishing from Sotomayor paying $3 million and she's not recusing. As far as whether you went on a fishing trip from somebody who does not have business before the court, and for Alito's fishing trip, this is Paul Singer, who was on the opposite side of what Alito wanted to decide on the gay marriage issue.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just going to be a flood of recusal requests.
But we're talking about a little bit more than fishing trips, right? We're talking about a private 737 picking up Clarence Thomas and taking
8 helicopter rides.
And nothing remotely approaching anything that even sounds like a conflict of interest.
Then why not put it in the report?
What do you mean?
No,
okay, every member of Congress or the House has a $50 gift limit. Should that be abolished?
Yes.
Well, you think they should just take
why is it there?
Gifts?
It's unethical. These people have a position of power.
I think that this is highlighting that there's been problems for a long time. I suspect that the Supreme Court justices of the past were not perfectly, ethical all the time. There wasn't enough scrutiny, but I do think that we need to have a higher standard for our ethical and moral behavior, and I'm hopeful we can all follow the guidelines.
He was required by law to disclose it and didn't. If there's nothing to hide, why not just put it in your disclosure?
Well, he did disclose a lot of it. Some of it he didn't. He's gone back. He hasn't tried to hide it. But again, nothing has approached illegality. None of these people have been before the court. But I will say, since 1991, progressives have gone after Clarence Thomas. We have an originalist-leaning Supreme Court right now. And I think that people are very, very frustrated. But he has been consistent in his jurisprudence throughout.
All right.
He's not a purchased justice.
Not at all.
He is
Crow would say something different.
This just in, some Democrats in the House are calling for the Justice Department to start an investigation, launch an investigation into Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas for consistently failing to report gifts he receives. We'll see if that actually happens.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.